There's that. And then let me go to here and just refresh this. Yo, the coins or keys or whatever are allowed. Just FYI.
Okay.
Now tell me. Oh, you're not. I got to get you the audio though. Hold on, let me pause this for a second. How do I get you the
Audio for what?
Well, how are you going to get the audio of the game? Oh, I guess it
Do you
doesn't
have it?
matter. We don't want it. We don't really want the audio.
No, we kind of went quiet, and we're just gonna talk over it, I guess, right now.
Yeah. What I'll do is I'm going to put the audio on pretty low, but still. Let me see if that fixed it. Okay, so I think we are good to go. Let me go full screen. Let's give it a second. Hide. Let me fast forward a little bit to get us to a good starting point. Come on. It's like not fast. It's like not jumping forward for some reason. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
I
I don't see you in the overlay at all, though. I just see.
You don't see
Oh,
me.
maybe I'm not supposed to see that actually.
Yeah, you wouldn't see that. I'm not showing you that. Okay.
Gotcha.
But I don't understand what's going on. Sometimes when Heroes of the Storm is on live, it's weird. Like I don't know if you've ever noticed this, but playing their videos while it's on live is like funky. Okay, here we go. Let's just kick it in right now before the draft starts. All right, welcome everybody to this pretty highly anticipated Week 3 EU HGC match. We have Tricked Esports up against Fnatic. And here casting today, you have myself, Mind Bullets, co-hosting with Grumpy Kitten. How are you doing, Grumpy?
You know, for Grumpy, I'm pretty happy.
Having a good day?
It's a mild day for Saturday, but I'm ready to watch some HGC cast a little bit with you, and hopefully have a good time.
Yeah, I actually am having a good day too. It's my birthday, but separate from that, I'm pretty excited about
this. Is it really
this.
your birthday?
Yeah, it actually is my birthday.
Oh, happy birthday, man!
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
It's cool. It's a cool stream. We've been best friends since like middle school. It's
Yeah,
my
don't worry
bad.
about it. But just as importantly, I'm pretty excited about this matchup. So we have a tale of two very different teams on different trajectories. So I'm going to introduce both of them and then get your thoughts. So first, on Fnatic, we have a team that was the clear number one, even though Dignitas, great team internationally as well, but Fnatic was a clear number one, overcame them, Dignitas, their loss to Dignitas at the Western Clash by beating them twice at the midseason brawl, and then, if I remember correctly, outperformed them at BlizzCon as well.
You might want to pause while we're talking right now.
No, this is good. This is fine. No, it's fine. And then we'll get into the draft in a second. It's fine, whatever. Unless you really want me to.
The draft is so important.
Because we're not gonna have a million things. The drafts take a while. Let's just let me.
I know, but you want to kind of talk about so I'm just saying when the draft starts, we want to sit there and talk about what possible first bans, the map, what's strong on the map.
I get that, but we're already let's just let it go live, man.
Yeah, sure.
Just play it live. Okay. But they had some serious role swaps. They dropped two of some of the world's best players in Schwempy and Wubby. And they haven't looked nearly as good in either the Gold Cup or in their performances in HGC this year, already having dropped a match to, was it Zealots, if I believe? So tell me, how do you feel about Fnatic and where they stand today in the power rankings?
The thing we have to remember about Fnatic was they were a team that had a lot of continuity for the last 2 years, and I think that's something that was one of their biggest strengths and why they showed so well, at BlizzCon last year and, all the international tournaments last year. And they're introducing two new players. There is possibly a language barrier. They used to be known as the team of Swedes. Now they have two new players that are from outside of Sweden. So while they might be
And
speaking
that's
English.
and that's Mane
Mene
from
and
Dignitas, and then
and
also Bad Binny
right,
from
Bad betting, yeah. Team experts,
Team Expert, which is now
which
Method, correct?
correct. So it's either simplicity or method, but I believe method, yeah. So I mean, that's it takes time. I think we'll really find out where Fnatic is at the first international tournament. And honestly, they could be at risk of not even making it in the top four to actually make that trip. I mean, there's some really good European teams that are coming up. One of the teams that they're playing right now, Trick Sport. They've had a lot of continuity, and I really think they're one of the up and coming teams right now.
Yeah, that's great. And so before we jump over into Tricked, I would say that you hit on a key point, which is, yeah, this team needs to find themselves. Their transition didn't go as well as another team like, let's say, Dignitas, which was just hitting on all cylinders, a top 2, 3, global power ranked team based on
Well,
their global cup performance. And so, but there is a question, this team needs to find themselves, coalesce, figure out how to get back to that top end level. But if doing so means missing what is a very quick initial Western clash, that would be a huge black mark for them. I'm sure it would
so
be a disappointment.
I'm not sure if you know this or not, but with Dignitas, they actually brought back, they did bring in two new players to replace Bakery, and I think they dropped Mene. Mene, was picked up by
It was
Fnatic,
a
but
trade.
Dignitas,
It was a trade. Wubby for Mene was how it went down.
right? And I believe Wubby actually used to be on Dignitas, so
Correct.
a little bit of, so it might not take them as long to simulate. He might have already been aware of the team dynamics and stuff like that. And let's be honest, Dignitas is pretty much the team of all stars of Europe right now. I mean, honestly, talent wise, I don't think there's another team in Europe that can compare.
Yep, that seems to be the case. And so we have a little bit of technical difficulties getting that fixed up. But before we jump into the draft, let's move over to Tricked Esports. So like we said, a tale of two teams on two different trajectories. So Tricked Esports had one role swap. Excuse me, not role swap, but just roster swap. They dropped Nape, who was widely considered as a good support, not the top end, but he didn't get picked up for this current Phase 1 HGC 2018 season, which is really interesting. And instead, they got Graham Paquette from Zealots, and he is seen as a top-end EU support, although most people thought it was a side grade from Nape. It's an interesting choice, but they also role swapped Alex the Pro G to that melee offlaner role and put Rimmerballer back at main tank. And so, what do you think of those changes so far?
With Alex the Prodigy, and one of the good things, with esports in general, sometimes role swaps are good to keep people motivated and interested in the game. Sitting here playing, especially with, my experience, and I'm sure with your experience, playing Heroes of the Storm on our own, sometimes you can get a little bit lackadaisical and, not really pushing yourself if you're playing the same thing over and over and over. And, Alex the Pro G is actually a great streamer. I drop in on him every now and then. And you can kind of tell, even last year he was transitioning into that off laner, that melee role. And you can kind of see it in where each week now he's been picking almost a new off laner and showcasing it. So, I believe last week he was showing off the Ragnaros. The week before that, he was showing off the Mathiel, and he's almost, it's kind of funny. We sit there and say, call him like a one trick, but he's one tricking something just for that week. So I'm pretty excited to see what he's going to pull out this week for us.
Yeah, that's a great point. He has taken one hero at a time each week and just showcased what that hero is capable of, and to the benefit of his team because they've been doing well. Right now, they're 2-1, and if I remember correctly, and I guess we could pull up the stats, but their one loss is Dignitas. Actually, no, I do know this. And in that loss, although they did go down 3-0, they had some really crisp rotations and sort of outplays actually of Dignitas to the early and mid game with leads. And then Dignitas's overall skill and game sense built up throughout the late game, and they ended up taking each of those games actually by the end of the game pretty easily from Tricked. But it was a good showing for Tricked. And since then, they also had a couple wins. I believe one over, I don't remember the exact team, but another one of those teams kind of at Tricked's level vying to be known as one of the top of the EU. So they're sitting pretty. And this game, to kind of bring this full circle now, is very important to understand the overall power level in Europe and who's really that number 2-3 team, because right now it's an open question. There's no guarantee it's Fnatic anymore. Would you call it a surprise if Fnatic loses today?
Oh no, I honestly I put these two teams on kind of the same tier. Basically, the way I look at it right now is you have Dignitas, basically as the A tier or one tier, by far the best team in Europe right now. They haven't even dropped a map yet. And then you have the next, I would say, six teams, basically all equal. They're all either 2-1, 1-2. And then I put leftovers basically dead last. They're a team that is pretty much slated already to get in the Crucible. I don't think they've even picked up a map yet. Um, so with these two teams, like you said, it's really important these next couple of weeks where we start seeing these teams that are really gonna, shake themselves from the middle of the pack and really kind of put themselves in that second tier right behind Dignitas.
Excellent. All right, so now we are into the draft. First draft coming up here, we see the bans from Fnatic. We had Tracer followed by Uther. On Trick's side, we have Chromie. Second ban's almost up. First pick was Hanzo by Tricked, with the response Malfurion, Greymane by Fnatic. Blaze, so right back on that Tricked hero from last week that you're referencing for Alex the Pro G Blaze, and a Gul'dan followed by an ETC second ban. What do you make of this draft?
So it's kind of interesting. So Trick Esports had the first ban here, and this map of Tomb of the Spider Queens was picked by Fnatic. Um, you know, Mene is considered a Chromie god. So it's pretty interesting that they just outright banned Chromie, just probably something they didn't want to have to deal with or counter. And then what was interesting was Fnatic coming right back with the Tracer ban. Interesting thing about Tracer right now, she's getting played mostly in Europe. Right now, I believe before today she was 4-6, so she's actually got a losing record at the moment, and 3 of those wins have come from Dignitas. So if you really think about it, every other team, yeah,
and
Snitch,
Poik. Well,
Snitch
is Snitch been playing at all, or has there been any Poik on him too? Because he's
I
considered
think
one
they've
of the
actually switched off. I
best.
think depending on what characters they picked, I don't think it's been just the one.
Yeah, I believe it.
But
He's considered one of the best in the world on that hero.
right. So what's interesting? So Tracer's 1-6, but again, first ban. Now I think the reason Fnatic did this, however, though, was, and I tell you the truth, I'm kind of surprised by their next 2 picks. I thought they did this so they were leaving both Hanzo and Genji open, knowing that if they banned out one, Trick was going to get the other, and then they'd be left out in the cold. But Trick goes ahead and gets Hanzo, which was pretty expected. But then Fnatic goes with Malfurion and Greymane, which Greymane's seeing a lot of play in HGC. I think he's got a 100% pick or ban rate right now, which I'm surprised, Blizzard hasn't done anything about. But Malfurion, that's interesting.
Well, they did something right. They buffed him a little bit.
yeah, they did. Well, actually, there's been an update to the PTR. They did a midweek update to that, and they've nerfed his damage a little bit from his Razor Swipe and his Gilliland Cocktail baseline. So they a little bit.
There you go.
And I'm sure you don't know about this then yet. Hanzo's also got another round of nerfs coming.
Oh, really?
They're nerfing his 2 level 7 talents. They are nerfing the cooldown.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that he was needed. He's constantly getting.
Knew it was coming, right? But yeah,
right. And from my understanding too, with the PTR patch of the way it is now, this is most likely the patch that these pros are going to go into the Western Clash with. So
fantastic.
Very important
so in other words, you can see with Tricked here, it's right for them to value Hanzo at this point. He's good. He might still be good after these nerfs. I have to look in more detail at them, but for now, he's essentially still OP, and so why not take him, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I think I got the technical issues figured out. For now, I'm going on a lower setting. In the future, Grumpy, we might, given your computer specs, have you actually being the one playing the game, sharing screen to me. So
Sure.
then we'll see how that works. I'm not positive, but for now, this will work. Slightly lower quality, but we're really testing the whole setup and the audio. This should be fine. All right, so you see Kael'thas Stitches coming out from Fnatic.
This is exciting. Kael'thas, not very much in the meta, but great follow-up stun to Stitch's hook. So Stitch's hook, Malfurion root, and Kael'thas just blows them up basically.
It's a blow-up comp, and you can see with the banning of Uther, they kind of this is what they had planned. It looks like to me, at least. You banned Uther out. You knew this is where you were going. You have a Joanna Rhaegar follow-up, and then an Anubarak 5th pick by Fnatic.
So the amount of
Wow.
CC right now on Fnatic is scary, and I think you brought it up right. You know, when they banned out that Uther, they said, "Go, okay, we're going to go on a CC train right now," and the best counter support to a CC train is Uther. Now, Trick Esport, leaving the support for the last pick, was able to somewhat counter it with a Rhaegar cleanse at
They still
7,
have
but
cleanse. One of
that
the
cleanse is only coming out once every 60 seconds.
That's right. We do have an ancestral as well.
This is
Any
correct.
chance
But
for
Malfurion Roots can do the
that's
healing reduction.
that's what I was gonna ask. Any chance we
And
see that at is that 7?
oh, absolutely, absolutely. Whenever you see Rhaegar and his heal is very telegraphed, so whenever you're doing your combo with the stitches, you know you are focusing on that one target, and Rhaegar is going to try to get that ancestral off. But it's gonna be very, very easy from your Malfurion if they're have good communication and good synergy to basically reduce that healing. So I
So
don't think that's gonna save the character.
talk to me about wave clear. It looks like Tricked is set up for some real success on being able to rotate quickly through these lanes and push them out.
Yes, yeah. I think it's definitely something they focused on in their first round of rotation. You know, they picked up Blaze and they picked up Gul'dan at the exact same time. Hanzo also has great wave clear. He doesn't really get great until post 7, which
Right.
with him and Spider Queen, a lot of teams try to snowball this map, getting the first and second turn in, and then when you hit that second turn in, you hit 10, and then you just push down the first wave of forts. But yeah, you can definitely notice the difference in the draft. So Fnatic's, really focusing on that blow up CC comp, and then you have uh, Trick Esports, who's really, really focusing on rotation, wave clear, just pushing the lanes in as hard as possible.
All right, here we go. Jumping into game 1 of this much anticipated match. We have Mane, of course, on Kel'Thas. Breeze is on, not Stitches, he's on Anubarak. We have Bad Benny on Stitches. Smexy, of course, on Rhaegar. And Quacknix on his favorite hero, Greymane.
All right, and with Trick Esports, we have Crosby on Gul'dan, Remmerballer on Joanna, Make on Hanzo, if they can stop spinning around so much, Grand Paquete on Rhaegar, and our boy, Alex Aproji on Blaze.
And that's a new great skin. God, I love that Rhaegar skin.
Those Mexicans are the best. I gotta say, give Blizzard a lot of credit. Probably their best skin package I've seen so far.
And I do apologize for the quality. I know we'll make this better next time, Grumps. But all right, so let's take a look here. We see posturing up around the middle. We got some vision going in from Make, and a real quick clear, as you and I suggested was going to happen on Trick's side, and they immediately rotate to lane. We got the 1v1 matchup bot, Stitches versus Blaze.
Which is relatively interesting to me. It makes sense, I guess. When you're going with that double tank, you are probably going to take one of your tanks as the offlaner. Neither one of them have the greatest wave clear. Stitches, if he goes to slam build, which it looks like he's going, does have a little bit of a better chance of the wave clear. But definitely in this early game, I think Trick Esports is going to dominate the wave clear.
Sorry, we just had a triple knock-up stun by Breeze, but a quick clear follow-up on side of Trick Esports and easy disengage. I really think you're right, what you said earlier. Fnatic needs picks. They're not going to have quite the same wave clear, although it's not bad, as Trick Esports, and they could really value a kill or two here in the early game.
Okay, see, but this is what I like what Fnatic's doing right now. So they're changing up the rotation instead of just going mid and top. They're going to get the Giants, and they're going to push it hard in that bottom lane and force Trick Esports to change the rotation up a little bit, because Fnatic knows that if they keep in the same kind of rotation that's going on right now, they're going to lose.
It is a smart move, and it's not. We don't see that every game, and we see a response though. Tricked Esports took their hard camp mid and applying some of their pressure on their own. And by doing so, it's allowing Blaze to get a free clear on that camp bot. This is actually a pretty smart, whether it was an intended or not, counter.
But the other thing we have to notice too now is that they're going to clear this up. It's going to get a little bit of fort damage or tower shot damage, and but now Fnatic has their own camp ready to go, and they can prime that whenever they feel it's necessary. And a lot of teams nowadays, they like to prime that and then try to get their turn in, because that basically, while there's that distraction of clearing that lane, they then have an opportunity to turn in some of their gems, which neither team is ready for their first web weaver phase yet.
It does force a response, doesn't it? You cannot let that camp push unattended to. All right, so what we can see here, Breeze is getting forced out, but keeping good vision over the 4-man rotation from top mid on Trick Esports. Alex the Pro G, as we anticipated, is winning that lane clear until Stitches is going to have to build up his slam a whole lot to actually contend with Alex the Pro G on Blaze in bot lane. He's trying to turn in. We
What's
can.
inter-
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say what's interesting here right now is it looks like that Fnatic has missed out on a couple of gem rotations right now, even though they're staying very very close in the EXP side. Um, right now we can see Tricky Sports already has enough gems for their first turn in, and Fnatic is basically a full wave away from getting that.
It's true. That's just smart rotations. Fnatic. This is something, and this is really the question of how soon is this going to come back for them. But this is how they beat EU consistently.
Oh,
And
we have a possible gank here. Oh, great
Joanna
use
with
of a trait there.
and my guess, because she could have popped that earlier, is that must have just come off cooldown, and thankfully so. It's 30 gems she had plus the kill alone. Yes, it would be a big difference here in this race to get 7 in the first turn in.
So Alex Apogee doing
Hanzo
a great
completes
job.
his quest.
Yeah, so this is redemption. So the thing about redemption is he actually will lose those quest stacks if he is killed. He'll lose 3 quest stacks, and it's only good when it's fully stacked, which I think is 12 stacks. So again, while it does say it shows complete, it might show complete again later in the stream, just because he might, knock
Hit the
on wood,
next
die.
component of it. Oh, I see.
Right.
Because he'll have to. Yeah, I follow.
Yeah, so it resets his stack just by 3, so it doesn't go all the way down to 0, but it does reset back to
And he'll have to complete it
9.
again. All right, so what
Correct.
we see here is just this continued rotation, this powerful wave clear. Oh, and a jump on top of on top of Crosby on Gul'dan, and even with the cleanse, he could not get out. But we have the response not stun from Alex the Progi, and man,
Quacknix
they almost
gets out.
take down Quacknix, but Greymane escapes there. That's a nice hard rotation by Fnatic, and they've been threatening it all game, but not so aggressively posturing that it's easy for Trick to forget how quickly they can blow up.
So what happened there was Gul'dan, they didn't have vision on the top side, and Gul'dan did not see the rotation coming in basically from the top to the bottom. And
Look at
Malfring did a
this.
great job of dropping that route.
Apologies.
Yeah, it's going to
Continue.
be very, very hard for them to pick off Joe. As long as Joe has her trade up, they're not going to be able to run that. Even if the roots is the opening initiation, she could still use her trait and get out. They're going to have to lead with a stun, and then basically almost time everything right to have a chance to blow up Joanna from 100 to 0.
Right. It typically won't happen. Instead, you'll hope to have her use it and then at some point blow her up. We have Breeze stepping in pretty aggressively here, but Make making a mistake and following him. We had the follow-up roots from Smexy, and Quacknick just gobbles him up with Greymane. That was just a poor choice to step in that far as Hanzo to try to chase down a 50% health Anubarak.
Yeah, I'm a little curious if Hanzo's trade was down because he did have the wall behind him and he could have leapt back. I don't think he was completely CC trained until he died, but I think a little bit of a misplay there.
Absolutely. All right. But we can see Fnatic immediately trying to capitalize on it. They get the first turn in. They pressure top lane 2v1 with Crosby there trying to defend his Gul'dan. Now with 3. Ooh, a beautiful gravity lapse by Mane catching Crosby behind the wall. That was blind.
Yeah, but the rest of the team wasn't ready to follow up. So, like I said, it probably scared the Gul'dan pretty good. But again, the team wasn't ready to follow up on that. So there was no really threat of kill there.
All right, what's nice here for Tricked is they do have their hard camp mid lane helping there with the defense that allows them to put 3 top here and force this Web Weaver down quick before you really take too much structural damage at all.
Right now, they're going to rotate down. Now, the thing that we have to be scared about is Fnatic might pop 10 off here during this Web Weaver phase.
This is where I think Rimmer already is a little aggressively positioned, but especially Grand Paquete, you need to be back.
He probably has his trade up, so he's probably knowing that he's playing that little bit of game of chicken.
All right, so here we go. This is where at 10 we're going to see Fnatic force bot, and they're saying we are going to take this fort. And of course, Trick responds correctly. Go soak the other lanes. You can't take the fight here. Let's wait until we're both 10. Then we'll have enough gems for a turn in. But here's the thing: Fnatic has enough for their second turn in. Both teams have now hit 10. What do you think here? We do see Cocoon from Anubarak. We got Twilight Dream. They went Bile and not the the belly ingestion.
Gorge.
And we do have the silver bullet here, a cursed bullet. On the right hand side, we see Blaze holding his heroic. What do you think?
That's interesting, actually. Actually, I've been playing Blaze a little bit in Hero League. Bunker gives us, armor thing. So if a team that's really coordinated, that's bumping in there, getting the bunker out, in and out, also has pretty much a consistent armor for 25.
Seems
25
like he has to
armor.
go bunker, and he does. He follows up with the bunker. I mean, with the team looking to dive the way they are, you've got Cocoon out there. Why not drop this? to help out sustain as you poke down a cocoon in order to get your teammate
Right.
back. So
And
it's the right choice.
and combustion is really, really hard, especially with the composition of Trick D Sports to get it good engage
I
because
mean,
Joanna has trouble engaging. So basically,
imagine imagine a root, right? He pops combustion, mouth drops the root under him, he gets no value.
right, right. So
All
again,
right,
really,
so we do see Tricked. Nice. They force back just by the threat of them both having their heroics. They get their first turn in, and now we get to see, can they follow up and get a fourth themselves? I think it's going to be less likely with both sides having 10, but and we see Stitch's bot lane already clearing before that gets to the bottom fort. Mid, they are getting some fort damage, but it's nothing. It's not going to be significant enough. But there is a push top. I'd like to see the observer pop up there and show us what kind of damage is going
well,
down.
the observer's not on our payroll, so we don't really have an option. But as we stated, something to note about Kalthas actually is Kalthas is one of the best anti-siege heroes in Heroes of the Storm. Now, again, he fell out of the meta, so we didn't see him very, very often just because of the rise of the dive heroes that really came out last year. But he is actually great at anti-sieging. His flame strike, especially when he gets
We
to
see the
13,
bunker
16, he gets his
dropped. We
double
see
strike.
Blaze in a very bad position here, but that bunker. And Alex the Pro G is really showing how you play. And that was, I would say, an unneeded, a wasted heroic there. We did not need to see the Ancestral come out. Alex the Pro G has shown a clinic on how to use the bunker to dodge all sorts of CC abilities and pick up that armor.
It's almost like a self cleanse, almost like an invulnerable, and it's actually got a really, really low cooldown, so you don't really ever waste it.
But it's actually really bad that it's still 75 seconds on Ancestral, and this is when they could use it. Alex the Pro G should go down here, and he does. Although Fnatic has a few characters low health, they're going to be okay if they want to posture back up and take this fight. And so you can see why, and maybe Grand Paquete hasn't played a lot with Alex the Pro G on Blaze, and so he pulled that trigger a little quick with Alex the Pro G still at 25% health and already completely out. It just seemed unnecessary.
So what's interesting about Blaze in particular was he also on that when they took that engage on the top side, he used his trait Pyromaniac, which gives him 25 armor, but has a 90-second cooldown. So when he made that engage on the bottom side, he didn't have that 25 armor, which is
Both
really
cooldowns gone.
right. So which really helps him stay alive. So it probably was I would say probably Alex Aprochi's fault there for hard engaging with neither of his defensive talents up, his heroic nor his trait.
You're the second
And
time down. That's right.
yeah, he just doesn't have the survivability to go in there like that.
All right, so we see here, Tricked hits 13, although Fnatic's at 14, but they picked up that 13 talent here. Fnatic with their second Web Weaver phase. And, Trick didn't get a whole lot done. They took down front walls, but they did not take any forts. And now you see Fnatic is posturing up to take one, maybe two. But we see the arrow come in, big stun. Rimmer catches the Ancestral. We have Quacknix almost dead and having to back out on that Greymane. Smexy running as well. And Alex the Pro G is stepping in, but we're not going to have any further engage.
By the way, Bad Benny right there makes a great play with his heroic and bile. He helped save his entire team from disengaging.
It's beautiful. There's a lot of value from that. But we do need to call this out. I mean, what a tremendous defense by Trick D Sports. They knew to step in and take that fight. They only lose. They get a free clear mid. They don't even lose the fort mid, a free clear top, and all they lost was, which is important, but a bottom keep wall. I mean, what a tremendous defense and call to step up and take that fight.
So what's interesting about this, and this is again the weakness of a Joanna comp, is that you don't have engage. So what they ended up doing was they had Hanzo with his ultimate start the engage. He gets the triple stun on the back line, and then Joanna steps forward, adds her heroic, and then uses her, I can't remember the name of the talent, but the one where she pulls everybody in together and gets the stun. So that's how they really, really condemn. So her condemn really started, Hanzo.
Here we go. We got a hard engage here. We still have all the heroic, we still have Malph's heroic up, but he is at low health here. Man, and Alex the Pro G once again dropping that bunker.
I'm not sure why he's doing that, to be honest with you. Well, so the bunker's not giving you more DPS, and it wasn't necessarily like their counter. So the problem with the bunker and the way Alex is using that right now,
we got him getting jumped on here and unstoppable. We got a cleanse to back him out. Nice job there by Grand Paquete. But now there's no cleanse for Monkey, and he blows up. Hanzo dies way out in front of his team, and we see that even with the trait, Joanna's going to be the next to fall here, unless she catches the Ancestral. And he drops it. Grand Paquete over the wall, drops the Ancestral, backs her out, but now that's down for another 90 seconds. Big win for Fnatic there. And oh, the hook from Bad Benny. But
Yeah,
there's
but there's
the
the bunker.
the
There's
drop of
yourself.
the bunker. Look at that beautiful bunker use. And he backs it out, clean back out with tricked esports down a talent tier 16-14, but they do have both their web weavers out, looking to give them at least a little bit of relief. Man, this is a
Yeah,
good
this is
game
this
so
is all they can
far.
do is buy them time. They're not going to hard engage and try to push any kind of forwards here. So this should be a pretty free clear for Fnatic. It does get your waves pushed back out, but right now Tricky Sports is just focusing on getting 16 so they can have an even talent fight.
We do have Stitch's full slam build, so we're going to see a lot of damage and extra CC. That slow is almost like a stun. The person can still use their abilities. Oh, Cocoon dropped on Blaze. We see Breeze and Bad Benny posturing up. They pull in Hanzo and
Bunker's gonna
gobble
come out
him
right off
up.
this. So what they did was they tried to split the tanks away from the back line. Once Anub put that on there, and the back line was trying to stay within range, Anub
Rimmerballer
hard engaged.
Rimmerballer can't get out here. He's stuck into Grand Paquete, and the rest of the Alex the Pro G and Gul'dan are able to make their way out. But that was beautiful. They cocooned Joanna in a place that she was unable to be immediately brought back out. The beautiful hook from Bad Benny bringing in Hanzo, and he was just immediately evaporated with some the Twilight Dream by Smexy. It was a beautiful, beautiful play.
So right now we're seeing the replay. And again, we can kind of see the positioning and how Fnatic does a great job of focusing on Hanzo first, taking him out, and what Trick's got to be careful about is, especially they didn't have
Breeze
16.
dropping on top of Grand Paquete. He split from the team, and the
He's
dog
gone.
goes down. Bad Benny slowing Make, but we do have the Blaze bunker, but it's not going to be good enough. Hanzo down again, and I can't help but continue to say, because I didn't get a chance to say it after the last fight, he's in bad spots. For instance, that last engage, not this one, but the prior one in the top lane, he was within auto attack range of the Cocoon. But why? He was out in front of his team. That's a Joanna in the Cocoon. Let her come out, pop her trait, and walk out unstoppable and rejoin her team. It just was a poor choice. And his positioning, you really got to question in this game because it's led to some really important late game kills. Fnatic takes bottom keep. 19-16. They don't want this fight, though. They're one level away from their 20, and this isn't looking good for Tricked.
No, and honestly, this really all happened in the last 2 minutes. I would sit there and say this game was very, very close. And then Trick Esports made a really, really bad mistake. They were out in lane when they was down to 16-15 talents here. Fnatic was looking for a hard engage, and they have a great comp to do that with. And, they caught out the Blaze. And then, again, before they hit 16, Trick Esport was in a position where Fnatic caught them for another fight. So, Fnatic right now is dictating when the fights happen. And that's just because of the way their comp is made up. Tricky Sports need to be a little bit smarter there and a little bit more conservative until they caught it.
And I would say Tricked is letting them dictate because they're
absolutely.
All right, we see once again Rimmerballer caught split from his team. Still with this trade up though, but Bile separating the teams. He pops the heroic, so now she can be bursted.
Cragnus can't find Rhaegar.
But they put Hanzo and he will die instantaneously.
Yeah, great Twilight Dream there to make sure the cleanse didn't come out of the bunker.
Samexi's been on point with the Twilight Dreams, but let's be honest, if against the blow up CC comp like Fnatic has, if you're Hanzo and you get caught in a Nubarax cocoon, you're dead. As Crosby's going to go down here making his last stand, and this is going to be it in game one. Yeah. Of this much anticipated match, and we got to say that Trick looked good. I mean, this reminds me a lot of what we saw in the Dignitas Trick series. Their rotations are thoughtful and strategized early to mid game. They're thinking ahead, and even when they're seeing some controversy or not controversy, even when they're running into some issues, they're able to sort of think through it. But late game, there are just some small mistakes that the best teams in the world will punish you for, and they lose game one. Great job, Fnatic, in this first game.
Yeah, Fnatic looked great there. They looks like the team was all on the same page. They were really, the way that their team was drafted was, again, they had to be on the same page, jumping on top of each other's CC trains, and they did a great job. I really want to sit there and give a shout out to Smexy on Malfurion. his roots were instrumental in a lot of their kills, and he was also doing a great job of holding that. When Blaze bunkered, he would put the roots underneath so they couldn't pop in and out and escape.
And this is by far Fnatic's most important win of HGC 2018. This is the team that looks like they want to contend to be, if not number 3, but maybe number 2 in EU. And so Fnatic to come out, game 1, statement game, and say, you know what, just so you guys remember, we're your daddies. You know, we're still Fnatic. Who knows? This is a 3-game series, and Trick looked good. They put a couple things together, positioning, mistakes get fixed. They could easily win these series. I'm pretty excited for us to hop into a game 2. But we're going to take a quick break, and we will come back and bring you game number 2 of Fnatic versus Trick Esports.